Unpopular opinions. So basically, if you live with your in-laws and your in-laws are rich and you're a couple looking to buy a house, forget about it. You will never buy a house ever in your life. So basically, I got off a call with a couple who booked a call through my TikTok bio, and we had a 15-minute private call, and they told me about their situation. And obviously I have their permission to talk about this, but I'm not going to tell you about their names, but this is what their situation is. So the premise is we have these first home buyers, and they've got about 4 kids under 7. Now this couple lives with their in-laws. So the in-laws are in their, 70s. And the in-laws run a business, and the business is self-sustaining, makes a lot of money. And they have this mega rich house, 3 stories, massive, beautiful house. And due to their age, the in-laws live in the bottom story because there's no ground level, no stairs. And then these guys take up the top story or something like that. And the middle is just like, a middle ground for them to meet and greet. Now, this family is not Asian or white. They're like an ethnic group. I'm not going to mention what it is. And the husband works full-time, and he's on maybe 70K or with bonus and overtime 80K. The wife doesn't work, obviously. Got to look after 4 kids. And plus, I forgot to mention they have 2 dogs. And you might be wondering, what is this weird looking thing here, with the rings? That's an Audi brand. So they drive a Q8. And their eldest kid, which is about 7, goes to 3 days a week soccer practice. Plus he goes to a private school, and to add on top of that, he does tutoring as well. And these guys, which basically are under 4, will be following his footsteps in doing these type of extracurricular activities too. Now, based on that simple statement of position of this couple with the 4 kids, you can see on a 70 to 80K income, it's not sustainable for their living expenses. Now, these guys live in a very posh house in the eastern suburbs, and obviously they pay no rent because they're living with their parents or their in-laws. But one of the spouse is unhappy with the mother-in-law and wants to move. But where the cookie crumbles is they don't have money. Their saving is around 5K. And the worst thing about this is they're so used to the high life, driving the Q8 luxury car, all the extracurricular activities for their kids. They want to stay around the eastern suburb, and ideally they want to buy a house. And to paint a very clear metaphor to describe the situation, it's like getting Harry and Meghan to move from Buckingham Palace, well, before all that beef with the royals, and then getting them to pack their Gucci bags and putting all their clothes in and moving all the way to the sticks, for example, Sydney, Campbelltown. Like, to be honest, unless their parents or the in-laws cark it, and then they inherit this house, they're gonna be involved in this cyclic, vicious spending cycle, which is falsely propped up by the in-laws' current situation. They're basically living in a little bubble at the moment. So basically, they're groomed to live like kings, but they're really poor peasants. And because their in-laws are rich and they're surrounded by, luxury, but they don't own the property, they're enabled to make financial choices that are beyond their income. I mean, look at this. They have 2 dogs, probably spending $500, $800 a month on dog food. They got a nice car, probably paying, 98 premium on petrol. And they're spending more than a couple of G's a month on 1 kid only. What happens to the other kids? And in this vicious cycle of living, they're cemented years of bad habit of spending. And if you went through my booking system on my bio link, I have 2 slots. 15 minutes for $7.77 or 60 minutes for $97. Which one do you think they picked? And I'm not blasting them for picking that, but in their head, they're like, now, I need it now, I need it now. Now culture. And I literally spent like 50 to 55 minutes just telling them off. Reality slap, pam, 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 pam. You guys need to come back from Mars and down to Earth. You need to live in your bloody means if you want to buy a house and start your own bloody life without your in-laws. If you're sick of your in-laws telling you, this is not how you wash the dishes, this is not how you take care of the kids, or every time you do something and your in-law gives you a bloody dirty, you gotta pop the bloody bubble, guys. Come back. Live in a suburb that's within your income. Stop these crazy private extracurricular activities for your kids. You gotta start bloody saving some money for the bloody deposit. Sell your bloody Q8. Lose 1 dog. And get your head around that the next house is not a bloody 3-story. Maybe it's a shoebox somewhere in a smaller suburb. Maybe you just need to come to the fact that if you want to live on your own terms without your in-laws, then you need to start from number one. And I told them straight to their face, otherwise you'll never ever buy a property. Maybe your in-laws live beyond 100. What, you gotta wait fucking like 30 years until they die? And luckily these guys watch my videos. They know that I give them tough love, and they really thank me for that insight, that change of thinking. They had a paradigm shift, and hopefully tonight when they discuss this situation, they have to realize, do we want to live a life of luxury but then have bloody dirty in-laws giving you dirty looks, or live a life of okay, not poverty, but just starting from scratch, but at least you're living on your own terms. The way you raise your kids, the way you bloody feed your dog. No one's on your back going, you should be doing this, because I've got money, Anyway, jump in the comments. I know a long video. Let me know what you think. You'd rather live with your rich in-law or live on your own terms? I'd love to read your comments.